This is my 1991 Fisher Advance in Sizzle Red, which is what initially drew me to this bike. And considering that it's 33 years old, this thing is in immaculate condition. In fact, I picked it up from the original owner, and the way it sits right now, it's in an all original state. But in this video, that's all about to change because we've got some really big plans for this bike. Welcome back to Joy of Bike. I'm Mike, and let's go inside and talk about those plans because it is absolutely freezing out here. Despite this bike's all original condition, we're gonna be tearing it all the way down to just the frame so we can get it all cleaned up. Then we're gonna start building it back up by re-greasing it and then replacing some of those original parts with some new and used stuff that I have right here on this cart, bringing this bike into the modern era. And the goal here is to make this thing into an all-out single-track ripper. Now, the big inspiration behind this build, beyond just repurposing a bike that has essentially been forgotten, is the fact that we have a ton of rogue single track here in the town that we live in Colorado. And when I go out and ride the single track on my hardtail with a suspension fork or my full suspension mountain bike, I really just feel like I'm way over biked. So these vintage mountain bikes end up being the perfect solution. However, some of the components that came on these bikes back in the day aren't the most ideal for a modern style of riding. For example, this stem, it's like 7 inches long, and the way I'm positioned on the bike when I'm riding just feels really uncomfortable. So that's one of the things we're gonna be addressing, as well as the drivetrain. This currently has a 3x7 setup, and we're gonna be replacing that with a 1x11 drivetrain, which I'm really looking forward to, and it's gonna make this bike a whole lot more fun and reliable out there on the trails. Now that you know what we're getting into, let's get into tearing this bike down so we can get it built back up and get out on our first joyride. As I'm refreshing this bike, I'm reminded how it's never too late for a fresh start, whether it's a forgotten bicycle or our own mental health. That's why I'm excited to share that this video has been sponsored by BetterHelp. BetterHelp makes starting therapy simple. Just fill out a questionnaire and they'll match you with one of 30,000 plus licensed therapists in as little as a couple of days. And the best part? It's fully online, so you can connect with a therapist from the comfort of your own home. And if it's not the right fit, you can switch at any time for no extra cost. Mental health is something that's near and dear to us at Joy of Bike, so thank you so much to BetterHelp for sponsoring this video. So if you're ready to refresh more than just your ride, visit betterhelp.com/joyofbike or click the link in the episode description down below to get 10% off your first month. Now back to the video. We've got the bike all stripped down and now we've got it cleaned up, and I'm not gonna lie, I'm pretty mind blown with how good this thing looks considering it's 33 years old. Of course, it's gonna have a couple little dings and scratches here and there, but otherwise this bike looks like I just walked into a bike shop and picked it up. So now we're gonna move on to the wheels and get those all taken apart so we can start cleaning those up before we start putting this whole bike back together with all of its new parts. We've got the wheels all polished up and wow, they look so dang good. The next step is we're gonna pop the cog set off. We're gonna pop all the bearings out of the front and the rear wheel. We're gonna clean everything up, re-grease it, and then we're gonna put it all back together. And that's when we're gonna start our reassembly with all the new parts. we're nearing completion on this bike and I'm getting so freaking stoked. And for the final piece of this build, we're installing a height right, which is basically like the original dropper post. It works kind of like if you've ever used one of those hand strengthening tools with a spring. That's essentially all this is. You install it through the quick release on your seat post. This goes on the seat post, and when you sit down, the spring loads and you clamp it back down, and then when you're ready for it to pop back up, you just unhook your quick release and the seat pops back up. Super basic, super simple and rudimental, but it gets the job done, and I really feel like it's gonna set this build off and take it to the next level. All right, that's enough wrenching. This thing is just begging to be ridden. So without further ado, let's take it for its first joyride. So it's been a few days since we finished building up this bike, and the night that we built it up, unfortunately, the temperatures really dropped and it started snowing. So for about the last week, I've just been sitting here at the shop, just staring at this bike, dreaming of getting out and riding it. Fortunately for you, you're gonna get to see it happen almost in real time. So we're getting ready to go for a bike ride. It's like 35 degrees, beautifully sunny today. It's a bluebird day here in Colorado, and we're gonna take full advantage by going out on a joyride. This is me right now with the little squigglies. That means you can drift your bike here, and that's allowed. Joyride, baby. It is so slippery. I can't even walk back up the hill. Ah, oh my gosh. All right, I think this is the end of our joyride because as you can see, all the trails that we essentially bought this bike for or built it up for, they're covered in snow, which, you know, that's kind of the name of the game here in Colorado in the winter. But keep an eye out in the future for a video of us getting out on this bike and really tearing up all these trails around Longmont. It's gonna be a whole lot of fun. And I can already tell just off of just poking down in here with all the snow on top of them, this bike is going to be so much fun. So I'm excited to bring you guys along with me in those videos. But I've got to say, I'm so stoked right now. This joyride gave me everything I needed. It scratched the itch that I've had for the last few days of just staring at this bike, waiting to get out and ride it. So I'm stoked you guys were able to come along with me. If you enjoyed this video, cruise down, hit the like button. We've got a ton more restorations and resto mods coming. In fact, if you want one of these bikes yourself, let us know in the comments down below. This is something that we're considering about building these bikes up and giving them away here on the channel. It's something that we'd really enjoy doing. Or if there's a bike that you want built, let us know and we'd be stoked to build it here on the channel for you, or a bike that you'd like us to keep our eye out for to restore for you. That's something that we're really, really open to. But if you're enjoying this series, make sure you're subscribed to the channel because we have a whole lot more coming. And with that being said, thank you guys so much for cruising with us today. It was an absolute treat. It always is. And we'll catch you in the next one. Later.